Now, we all know that God made man in his image. Therefore, God is not man and man is not God. But if you was to see a man, he will resemble God, for they will have the same features. So it is absolutely absurd to say that the Father is the Son and the Son is the Father. Are you your Father? Is your Son you? Or is that three different people? In other words, stop sounding weird, man. Like, come on. I don't know where were you born. Like, I don't know what sci-fi channel you was watching growing up, but stop it. Like, let's get this over with today. In other words, share, repost, do whatever you got to do so tomorrow you don't have to hear dumb stuff. Now let's read. First of all, God is the one who gave the commandments. Let my cry come near before thee, O Lord. Give me understanding according to thy word. Let my supplication come before thee. Deliver me according to thy word. My lips shall utter praise when thou hast taught me thy statutes. My tongue shall speak of thy word, for all thy commandments are righteousness. In other words, in the beginning was the word, and it was said by God. For he is the one who gave the commandments. So if your God did not give the commandments, then he is not God. So let's watch what they did to the Bible.
The Slave Bible was actually a book of the Bible that didn't have any passages that would cause revolution. That means 90% of the text was taken out. Most of the text from the Old Testament, you know, all that Moses stuff, all that let my people go, all that we got all hope splitting Red Sea.
In other words, they created an Old and New Testament format and put the future in the past. So during the Renaissance period, Europe basically said that the story of Moses happened already, when instead it's supposed to happen at the end of times.
These miracles, nigga. It's like, don't you believe in God? What, isn't he supposed to be the one who's ruling all of? Shut up. And so they removed most of the Old Testament and they left only passages in the Bible that were about masters owning their slaves, that were about slaves being obedient, and about following rules and orders. But guess what? Niggas know how to read. So
hence, we know what's going on. So let's read. And as they were being separated from him, Peter said to Jesus, Instructor, it is fine for us to be here. So let's erect three tents, one for you, one for Moses, and one for Elijah. He not realizing what he was saying, but he was saying these things. A cloud formed and began to overshadow them. As they entered into the cloud, they became fearful. And a voice came out of the cloud saying, This is my son, the one that has been chosen. So who do you think was chosen? Moses. Because Moses, by definition, literally means son. Moses, meaning son. Moses, meaning son of. And it was Moses who named Joshua. And who is Joshua? Joshua is Jesus. So the name Joshua is literally Jesus. In other words, Moses is Jesus' father. So let's watch. Second book of Esdras. For my son Jesus shall be revealed with those that be with him. After these years shall my son Christ die, and all men that have life. And the world shall be turned into old silence 7 days, like as in the former judgments, so that no man shall remain. After 7 days the world shall raise up, and the earth shall restore those that are asleep in her. And the Most High shall appear upon the seat of judgment, and misery shall pass away, but the long suffering shall have an end. In other words, God is here at the end. And who is God? Elias, also known as Elijah. And Moses went up into the mount of God, and the glory of the Lord abode on Mount Sinai, and a cloud overshadowed it 6 days. And he called to Moses on the seventh day. In other words, God is in the clouds. Remember, Moses and Elijah went up into the clouds. And it was Elijah who was speaking out of the clouds. Hence, it's Elijah who is speaking to Moses in Jubilees out of the clouds as God himself. So it's God, Moses, then Jesus. Three different people. Hence, pay attention.
or operated the world when he was dead for 3 days? My question is, if Jesus is God, then who ran or operated the world when he was dead for 3 days?
This, of course, is part of the way in which the message of Jesus was distorted and changed over time, so that the Bible does not preserve the accurate historical memory of what Jesus taught, but actually preserves what people like Paul have taught over time. If Jesus died as a ransom for me, then I'm automatically freed. And if Jesus died as a ransom, to whom is the ransom paid? If to the Father, then he looks cruel. If to the devil, he looks powerful. The doctrine